because they have guys who are in their 30s. And while some around the NHL may say, well, they're taking the route of Anaheim. They're older guys. They're still good, but they're not as good. This also could be the opportunity for guys like Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, specifically him, Chris Letang, to basically say, hey, guys, we're in our 30s now. We need to get something, and that window down the road could be closing. And they have a decent team here. I think it's a sneaky good team. And I like what I see from Alex Galchenyuk. I know Phil Kessel is a guy who had a lot of success here, but the time was right for a trade. Can Galchenyuk be the guy who was a third overall selection from Montreal? He certainly has the talent, and maybe on this team, maybe with Malkin, that could be something that really gets him going. And you talk about Dominic Kahuna, a young guy from Chicago. I like him on the top line, although I know Jarrett McCann can play there, and he did last year. But I think they'd like to spread things out. Mike Sullivan likes to be one of these four-line guys, and I like that approach. And you could see Jarrett McCann on a third line with Bukestad. But the other thing you got to remember, they're a little over the cap right now, and they have to get under the cap, so there could be a trade sometime this week. Who knows who it could be to try to free up some of that money. 412-575-2600 is the number, so we're talking about all those things. Let's go out to Sean and Aliquippa. Sean, welcome to the Sports Call. Go right ahead.
Hi, Bob. Big fan. I've been watching you for years.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I totally agree with our game plan. We were so timid, and San Fran had a defense. But I want to allude back to somebody that called in a couple weeks, I believe, ago. They said that when Ben got hurt, which could be career-ending, he ran to the sideline, and they said, well, he should have went over and talked to Mason. No, them guys got to conduct business. He had a lot of things on his mind. He's injured. And every time...
Hey, he's helping. Sean, he helps him in practice. He's helped all those guys. I don't know what he's supposed to do. And yesterday people were even commenting about the fact he wasn't on the sidelines, where he had good reason, because he had surgery this morning. So, bottom line is, I think Mason Rudolph, after kind of a cold beginning and introduction to Ben Roethlisberger, who was kind of didn't understand why they took Mason Rudolph in the third round, but that has since warmed, and those guys have done well together, trying to work together. And I think Roethlisberger has tried to do the best he can being a leader. And he's gotten better, I think, in that department as age has taken place, too. He's more mature, and I think understands the role that comes with his position. Thanks for the call. We appreciate that. Let's go to Pete. What's up, Pete in Squirrel Hill?
Hey, Bob. How are you tonight running the solo?
It's, more calls the way I look at it. We can get more guys on.
If I had your money, I'd burn mine. Anyway, Bob, 2 points.
You're misguided to think that now. Come on, man.
Hey, listen, about the Penguins, the preseason Hockey News edition, I'm surprised doesn't have them going to playoffs. And that really surprised me. But my question to you, Bob, is someone in the sports media, after the Pirates season, after the game ended yesterday, and this is a disastrous season, after the game, Rob King comes on with Michael McHenry, and Michael McHenry makes a statement, Bob. This Pirates' resiliency is remarkable. Is he dyslexic? Can he not read the standings? There's 26 games under 500. How can you make that statement? Thank you.
I didn't hear that, and quite frankly, I wouldn't make that statement because they haven't been resilient. If you want to talk about a player or two, a young guy coming up, maybe, I'm not sure what exactly he was referring to, but this has been just a disaster all the way through. This now bodes extremely bad for next year, because there are not many answers here on the immediate horizon. There are some kids down in the lower levels of the minor leagues. I talked with some scouts the other day, just, who are they? What can they do? But they're not scheduled to arrive here anytime soon. So what do you do if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates? You have a lot of issues going in. Right field, Polanco, you don't know what you're going to get back from him. He's still having shoulder trouble all season long. What about catcher? Who's going to be your catcher? You certainly cannot go with Diaz and Stallings. You can't. They haven't shown much there. Then, you look at the infield. Okay, so you have Moran, who had a pretty good opportunity at third base this year, and I think played well, better than I would have thought. Newman was a nice surprise. Frazier, can he play every day still? I like him at the top of the order. But, again, you're not going to get a lot of power generally. Brian Reynolds is the best thing that ever happened, and he wasn't even slated to be up here. It only took 2 injuries, and they had no choice but to bring him up here. Then I wonder about the pitching more than anything else, Pete. This pitching staff doesn't have much of anything except question marks all the way through. There's no Tyone. You have no idea what Chris Archer's going to be able to do next year. He's certainly talented, but can he put it together? So far in 2 seasons here, or a year and a half, the answer is no, and it's a resounding no. Musgrove, good, bad, good, bad. That's the kind of stuff you can get, and that's what a third, fourth starter does. Same with Brault. Keller, I haven't seen that much to make him my number 2 guy or anywhere in the top 3 for that matter. So they're going to have to make major changes. With regards to the Penguins, last year they barely got in. It's a complicated and very, I think, deep Eastern Conference. There are a lot of good teams, better than what I think some people think. I think, as I said, my determination, if I'm them, is, hey, we got some guys here who are older. We want to win now. Let's do, take this seriously enough to dig deep and come up with something. I think they can. The word I use is sneaky with them. I think they're going to get in, and where it takes them, we'll find out. Let's go to Mikey in Uniontown. What's up, Mikey? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Pop? How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Thank you for calling, Mikey.
Good. Hey, just wanted to get your thoughts on. I really think Ben didn't really have to have elbow surgery. I think it was kind of a thing just to get him out of the season without having chest. And just wanted to see if you would please go back.
I don't understand what the comment about didn't need to. I mean, if the doctors tell you need it, you need it. So, bottom line is he'll be fine, and they need him. And Mason Rudolph, even if he shows that he can handle it, and I have no trepidations in saying I think he can handle it. He's a confident young man, and I think the more he plays at this level, the more he'll get more comfortable with it, and I think he'll be an effective NFL quarterback. But if you have Roethlisberger back at 100%, I think people need to understand what you're dealing with here. This is a Hall of Fame guy who, if his arm is back and he can still throw the way he's capable of, you need Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think there's any question about that. All right, we have to go to a break here. We have JB, Will, and Mike. We'll get to more of your calls right here live on Pittsburgh CW.